What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of Dangle Bet Celly, powered by FTN Bets, right here on Game Plus Network, also presented by PointsBet Canada. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here with you. If you're watching live on our FTN YouTube page, we appreciate you. If you can smash the like button, that would do us a huge solid. Make sure you're subscribed to the FTN Network YouTube page. If you have any questions, any comments, you can leave them here on this show. And if you're watching over on Game Plus Network, we also appreciate you as well. Always a great lineup over there. We ask you to head on over to our FTN YouTube page, subscribe here. And again, if you have any questions watching the show at home or wherever it is that you are watching, you can leave them there on the replay of the show, whether it's on our YouTube page or over at ftnbets.com. Always circle back before a puck drop. We have game one tonight in the Western Conference Finals between the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers. And there are 4 teams now. That's it. We're down to the final 4. EY last night, the Carolina Hurricanes got bounced. Their first loss on home ice. And they're done because they couldn't win a game away from Carolina. The New York Rangers have advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it feels like EY, the Lightning, haven't played in about a month. Happy Tuesday, dude. Welcome in, man. How are things?
Yeah, things are good, man. It's cool. We're whittling down. I mean, it's both exciting and sad, right? Because, I mean, the closer we get to the Stanley Cup, the more exciting it becomes. But also that dreaded offseason is right around the corner. I will transition to football. As of right now, I know nothing about it because I am neck deep in hockey. The game was interesting last night. I think I did not see a massive amount of pushback from Carolina. Like, they had a lot of shots. I mean, that's something that this team has been known for a long time. They were putting rubber on net, but there was not a lot of super high danger chances from watching the game. To me, Shesterkin looked super dialed in right from the very start. That in the end, that I think spelt the demise. I mean, like they had some pretty good chances early on, and he just looked completely dialed in. And we've seen this before in the NHL playoffs. You get a goalie that gets locked in like that, and it really doesn't matter the attempts or the team playing in front of them. You just can't beat them. That was definitely the story last night. New York was the aggressor, both physically and offensively last night. And I think we talked about this. I can't remember where I read it, but I wish I could remember and give them credit because it's not my theory, but it's something that I subscribe to. And that is playing that style, that kind of aggressive all over the ice style of play that Brind'Amour wants his team to play, that he played, is easier said than done. And I think looking at that game last night, they looked cooked. Like they did not look physically competitive in any part of the ice. And I feel like that could be a really solid theory, and it could have been proven last night that you can't play that style of hockey all season and then carry it throughout the playoffs when you're playing every other night. Not every player can play that way, and that's what it looked like to me. Rangers kind of beat up on them a bit last night, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, man. The first goal was key, right? To go into Carolina and get that first goal with Igor Shesterkin. I'm not going to lie. I lost a few bucks on this series. Like, it crushed me. I mean, the unders hit in every game but the last 2, and that was a trend that we continue to follow on this show, but there really just wasn't a lot of consistency from anybody in terms of shot props. There wasn't really a whole lot of offense. We had Mika Zibanejad last night to have a point, Sebastian Aho to have a point. Those guys hit the score sheet, but they didn't have the shots. And we see the guys here hanging out. And I agree with Adam here. I mean, Aho and especially Svechnikov, just very, very quiet. Rod Brind'Amour is a coach that likes to roll 4 lines. I'm looking at Aho, and I was thinking to myself last night, did this guy have a game in the 7-game series where he played 20 minutes? And he didn't. 18, 18, 17, 19, 17, 42. He got up to 19, 41 last night. There were some moments in the game where Brind'Amour loaded up the big 3 and Svechnikov, Teuvo Teravainen, and Aho, but they weren't really double shifted. They got nothing from Jesperi Kotkaniemi. He's a guy that averaged basically 10 minutes per game throughout the playoffs, and what did he have, like 1 assist? Their big addition was Max Domi. Ultimately, EY, this is a team that generated a lot of offense at 5-5. They have over the past 3 years. We've known that they're a really good 5-5 team. The analytical community loves the Carolina Hurricanes. They headed into the playoffs with the #1 PK, the fewest goals against allowed overall at 5-5. They weren't a team that gave up a whole lot, and they did dominate play, but really didn't get a whole lot of offense towards the last I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks of the season. This was a team that went through a 4-week stretch where they were out shooting their opponents almost double, but they weren't finding any offense. So if it's not coming from Svechnikov or Aho or Teravainen, I know Seth Jarvis had some moments, and Adam says the injury crushed their chances. Sure, I mean, he had a really good playoff run, but if you're counting on a kid to carry you into the third round, I mean, you got some issues. And now I'm looking at this Hurricanes team, and I'm just kind of wondering what the future looks like for them. You know, Svechnikov is locked up. Clearly, Aho's got another 2 years left on that deal that they had to match from the Canadians. Jordan Stahl is done. I would assume maybe he comes back on a cheap deal. He's only 33, but this is the last of his deal. They got Vincent Trocheck in there, who's an unrestricted free agent. Natchez is an RFA. What happened to Martin Natchez? Like, what happened to the last year was great, and this year was a bit of a step back from him. He's got a ton of skill, but he didn't show up in the playoffs.
I mean, I think this is like the old tale of, you know, like some players, when the pressure is on and they have to perform, they step up, and sometimes the pressure crushes them. I'm not talking about the playoffs. I'm talking about a contract year. You know, you can look across at another Southern team in the Nashville Predators. I talked about it all season. I talked about it at nauseum at the start of the season for season long, telling people Philip Forsberg is going way too late. You need to pick this guy up. He's going to have a career year. He is trying to set up his family for the rest of their lives. And the pressure did not buckle for Philip Forsberg. And I think if you're, you know, if just looking at the numbers wise, Netjes was not the player he was the year before. He certainly was not the player he was before in the playoffs. He was pretty much invisible for most of this series. We know that he's a good player. We know that he has a ton of skill. But in the end, when he needed to perform to get paid and he needed to perform to help his team out in the playoffs, he crumbled under the pressure. I'm not saying that he can't turn it around. He's a young player. But that's what it looked like to me. I mean, the Rangers are, it looks like a kind of a team of destiny right now. Having, in all likelihood, the Vezina Trophy winner on your team
definitely
can clean up all of their deficiencies. And look, they have a ton of deficiencies. They're outshot in every single game. I think probably throughout the entire playoffs, they will be outshot by Tampa Bay. There's no doubt about it. But having a Vezina caliber goalie, a guy like that is locked in, that's the equalizer. The Rangers can beat anybody, and that's solely because of Shesterkin.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw how far the Habs went with Carey Price, right? Goaltending is key at this time of the year. So this is we'll get into the 2014 rematch in the third round between the Lightning and the Rangers. And the Rangers at that moment wrote a hot goalie in Henrik Lundqvist as well. That was a terrific series. It just feels like forever ago now. So yeah, I mean, the series odds here from PointsBet. The Rangers took all 3 games against the Lightning this season, and a lot of them came down the stretch of the year. Well, there was one in actually lies. I take it back. I thought it was down the stretch. There was the latest game was March 19th at Tampa, a 2-1 victory. There was a back-to-back that they played in Tampa, December 31st. The Rangers won that one 4-3 in a shootout, and then they won 4-0 2 nights later at home, MSG. Shesterkin was in the pipe for all 3, and of course he had the shutout in there. And he is, I mean, he had moments, I guess, against the Penguins. Not all of that was on him. You mentioned the 5-5 play and the Rangers getting outplayed. And, you know, he was pulled twice. But, man, my goodness, down the stretch, not only is he going to win Vezina, this was my heart pick. And it was my heart pick from, I don't know, maybe early March on. And I know that he went through a moment as well. The whole team did. You're not going to be perfect all year long. He basically was. And I understand Matthew scored 60, and that's very special. But this, to me, I mean, he's the backbone. He's the heart guy. He's the MVP. That's the definition for me. MVP. The Leafs are loaded offensively. The Oilers are loaded. I mean, Draisaitl's really good, too. Nobody ever talks about Draisaitl's 50-plus goals and 100 points. Nobody ever really gave love to Huberdeau or Johnny Hockey. There's a lot of great MVP candidates, but what Shesterkin is doing reminds me of Carey Price back in 2014 when he won the Vezina and he won the Hart, and the Rangers team. Yeah, they have some powerful offensive forwards, and Adam Fox is the stud. I mean, he finished off this series against the Hurricanes with 8 points in 5 straight games. He was terrific, and he's been unbelievable over the past couple of years. But the backbone of this team is Igor Shesterkin. I'm not sure if they'd be there without him, but listen to some of the numbers here. Game 1, 24 of 26, 923 save percentage. Game 2, 20 of 21, a 952. How about Game 3? The Hurricanes, the biggest thing that we just overlooked, and the reason that they didn't advance is partly Shesterkin. They also didn't win a game on the road.
Yeah.
You can't.
And their power play was brutal, right? Like,
was just brutal, especially away from Carolina. Yeah.
You can't win playoff games when you have two glaring holes like that, right? And look, you can't tell me that your backup goalie being your starter, Ranta, was good, but what has been his thing his entire career is he can't stay healthy. And when that team needed him the most, what happened? He got hurt trying to push across, the crease. I mean, I guess there was some incidental contact, and Rangers fans or Carolina fans are all up in arms about how he was injured. Like, good God, man. He's going to get bumped into. It's playoffs. I mean, no one meant to hurt him. He ended up hurting himself. And think about that. You're a Russian player. You barely have been with the team. I think he got here in February or March. He can't speak English at all. And your team is up against an elimination game and already down 2 goals. There you go. Go ahead. Good luck with everything.
First shot, I want to point out, comes in short side and scores out. Yeah,
the Rangers too is. I feel like we're not giving them. Nobody's giving them the credit except for Rangers fans. Is Zibanejad has been unbelievable. Kreider has been unbelievable, and I want to point out the 2 massive pickups and Frank Petrano playing on the top line and Andrew Kopp. Those are 2 huge pickups for them. Trouba has been an absolute physical menace. Fox has been maybe the best defenseman in the entire NHL playoffs, the former Norris Trophy winner. And like you said, in the end, even with some deficiencies, you still got to get it past Shesterkin. And he's going to win the Vezina. He will be mentioned for the Hart. Like you said, I don't think he wins it, but he will be in that mix. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Rangers in Tampa Bay is going to be a super compelling series.
It's going to be awesome. I think, and a lot of people just think Tampa's going to roll over them. I just don't really think that's the case. A couple things here. I love the call out from Kopp and Vetrano. We love both of those guys. We really like the addition. I know that you put a sprinkle on the Rangers before the season started to win the Cup, so I know you've been high on them as well. And we see surely not Kyle Vasilevsky versus Igor. Total should be at 4, and no jokes. Like, they really should be probably at 4. We're going to see a lot of 5.5s. We're going to see the juice to the under. We'll probably see some 5s. We just really will with both of those goalies. But Kopp has been well over a point per game guy here for the Rangers. I know he was in the regular season and he kind of quieted down, but he was on the score sheet last night. Vetrano's been great for them since day one. I think it took a game or 2 for them to put him on that top line with Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider. He's been really good. I'm really impressed with Jacob Trouba. Say what you want about, some of the edginess that he plays with, maybe crossing the line just a little bit, but my goodness, that guy's all over the ice. I know when he signed that big contract, when he was traded from Winnipeg and he signed that contract, a lot of people kind of laughed at that contract, and even last year they were kind of poking at that contract. But man, he really is a guy that just gets in. He does the little things. He's a big body. He hits. He finishes all the hits. We know that. He's got a long stick. He's good at just deflecting, getting in the way. I saw a couple times there were like 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s where he just like dove and just took his whole body across the ice. There was nothing that you could do. So a shout out to him as well. And surely not Kyle. Also a shout out to Alexis Lafreniere, who's been playing really good hockey.
I was just about to say it.
Another guy you've been talking quite a bit about. And we both have over the last 2 months. We've seen his game kind of evolve where a lot of people just straight up wrote him off. In year 2, let's just write off the kid. First overall pick. He finished with 19 goals. It's not bad for his sophomore campaign.
He's a child. He could be my son, and it wouldn't even be weird. Like, God, give him, not all players are unbelievable and ready to play in the NHL at 19 years old. He's got every tool. He's starting to show it. I know they did this in Colorado when they had their huge run with Waugh and net, the kid line. The Rangers did it with Adam Graves and a bunch of other players. It's a really interesting theory out there where you putting these kids, because none of them defer. They're not playing with star players. They're not playing with, like superstar players where they feel they need to defer. They're playing with all guys their age. They know they're all good. They trust each other. And that third line for the Rangers has been on good. And I also wanted to say, Hey Shay, Shayna Goldman has been on this since the trade, and she is spot on. A player that I've always loved. Tyler Mott has been a very important player for this team.
Yeah.
Very important player.
Yeah.
She's been all over it. If you want to learn something about hockey, follow her. I mean, she is a wizard. I bow to the powers of Shayna Goldman. She's unbelievable. We started working together. She got her first big break at the Athletic, and we were working there with her and had her on our show. And she's killing it, man. She is absolutely killing it. And she's so smart and is so passionate about hockey and learning everything about it. I don't know where she finds time to write it all and do it all, but she's doing it. And yeah, I wanted to point out that Tyler Mott, yes, he's playing on the fourth line, but Gerard has had him all over the lineup. He's played up on the top line. He's played power play, and he's super important for energy and for penalty killing. He can skate like the wind. He's a great player, and it's cool seeing him get a chance to play some important minutes for a team when they need him the most. I mean, it cannot be understated enough. Those 3 pickups for the Rangers changed this team. They were already a pretty good team. And then, I mean, now nobody is giving them the respect they deserve.
No, I agree. And even all I'm hearing this morning on social media and Twitter is, it's not for everybody, I'll tell you that. But last night, and you would know about that with the following that you have. But last night and this morning, all I heard was, oh, well, the Rangers went up against a third-string goalie in the first round. I mean, Tristan Jarry only had 1 start. We know Casey DeSmith got hurt early, right? And that overtime was a game 1 in overtime when that was the game 1 that went kind of the distance.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Louis Domingue comes in there, and then Antti Raanta, and we saw a third-string goalie last night. Make excuses all you want. They are definitely going to have their toughest test in going up against Andre Vasilevsky, who's been extremely well, but still, they were still able to, I guess it really is, like I said, the backbone is just Shesterkin, but they were still able to produce offensively and get some chances. And the special teams really was the difference. The offense the power play has been really, really good for them. So a couple things before we move on from here. I love the mock call because 2 things I thought of when you were saying that. Jake Celly, who's a Rangers fan, who you guys are well aware of here on FTN Network. He has a show, All in Football, also can be caught on Game Plus Network on Thursdays at 8 Eastern. Diving into the fantasy football. But when they made some of their additions, like Sammy Blais too, is a guy that you and I like, right? Last year they got pushed around when Tom Wilson kind of pushed around. There was that whole scene there with Wilson and Artemi Panarin, and then they just tried to get some grit, right? And Sammy Blais, unfortunately, the injury didn't work. Like, he suffered the season-ending injury, but he looked good there. And then they get the 2 guys inside the top 6, like you mentioned, Vetrano and Kopp. But one of my buddies who's a Canucks fan was super sad to see Mock go because he plays in all those situations, especially on the PK. He's really good at 5-on-5 play. He's kind of like your coach's little pet, and you're seeing that with Gerard Gallant. And I mentioned that to Jake Celly. And when Mock got hurt, he's like, oh, great, another guy that you liked in play in Mott. These guys are just hurt now, but Mott is back, and he's looking really, really good. And looking at the scoring leaders right now, Mika Zibanejad is number 3 in the NHL here in playoffs with 19 points, and Adam Fox is 18. And do you know what it turned around? It turned around in Pittsburgh when Mika Zibanejad was looking at that tablet. I know I brought it up a couple times. That's exactly where it turned around for these guys. Kreider just ripped that tablet out of his hands, chucked it behind. Mika Zibanejad went on to score a hat trick, and he's been lighting it up ever since, man.
This is why you watch the games. This is why you become, don't be me. Like, no one's got time for that. No one's got time to watch every single game like a psychopath and be up to 3 a.m. But that's part of the narrative. He was gripping his stick, or whatever cliche you want to say, and Kreider said, stop doing that. Just go and be Mika Zibanejad or Mike Zibanejad, depending on who you ask.
He had 4 goals, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points in the final 5 games of this series. Just phenomenal stuff from Mika Zibanejad. Not hitting the shot props, but he's he's getting in there anyways and mixing it up offensively. So we want to say hi to everybody. We're about 20 minutes in. We're going to recap now, get into the games here. Mika is Hurricanes dad. I like that one as well. Evan in the house, up chat. Adam Rankamp, good morning, boys. Let's have a day. Matt Best, what's up? Happy belated, dude. The boys, we have Adam again. 2 best goalies meet in the Eastern Conference Finals under
so good.
Yeah,
so
it
good.
really is. Again, it kind of, maybe I'm saying this as a homer, but it just reminds me of Price and Vasilevsky last year. There were moments where they were both going toe-to-toe, and it's like, is anybody going to beat these goalies? And we could see some of that again as well. Matt H, if Point gets back for the finals, they are winning again. Vasilevsky at 5.5 is a nice MVP price. We talked about that on Mean Streets yesterday. We'll bring up some Conn Smythe odds a little bit later on. Adam says his speed helped their zone entries all series long. I think he's talking about Seth Jarvis there. I agree. Aho and Svechnikov did disappear. Surely not Kyle. Let's go Rangers, baby. Don't think the Rangers will get away with the amount of chances they give up against Tampa. Kucherov and Stamkos won't disappear. Yeah, that is the concern that I've had with this Rangers team going in. Did have them beating the Penguins in 7. Pretty surprised that they came back down 3-1. Totally misread this, guys. And I'll take the heat for this. It's just like I said earlier, lost a little bit of cash on this one. I thought the Hurricanes would win this series. I thought they'd win it in 6. I really thought that even still a couple days ago that they would go into MSG and win a road game. They just did not. But they do have to tighten up a little bit 5-5, especially going up against those powerful forwards in Tampa. Surely not. Kyle says unsung hero of the series. Adam Fox playing quarterback on those first power play goals. Absolutely.
He's so good.
Canes went 2 series without a road win. That will never get it done. That's from Matt H as well. Lafreniere playing good hockey. Vladimir checks in, thinks Lafreniere still led the Rangers in goals 5-5. He was actually second, super close. There you go. He's all over it. He corrected himself. Yeah, Kreider and Zibanejad. Not too shabby. You are right, dude. That's a pretty solid campaign. He had 19 goals in the season. Yeah, 18 5-5. 8 according to Natural Stat Trick. 18 5-5. 18 to 19 5-5. That's pretty impressive, right? From like a 19-year-old kid. I think that's pretty impressive stuff.
It's very impressive, and he's only going to get better, and we're seeing that in the playoffs. He's back checking, he's lifting guys' sticks, he's super heavy on the forecheck. He's a big dude, like he's really physical. He can hit and throw his weight around, can fire the puck. Like when you see him really shoot it, it comes off his stick differently. Like there's maybe 10, maybe 15 players that can shoot the puck like him. And like I said, and surely Kyle is laughing at it. He's a child. He's a child. He can't. I don't even think he can buy a beer. Is he 21? I don't think he is.
No. One guy that they hope to get some offense from is Capo Caco. A little early on calling these guys all bust, but considering where Zegras went in that draft at 9th overall and Caulfield went in that draft, Capo Caco needs to step it up just a little bit. Where's my Carolina dude, Am the Artist? Am the Artist, we're big fans of Am the Artist, but that's probably where he is. Dude, you're watching the replay. Best of luck to your Hurricanes in the future. I think you're going to see some noise in the offseason with that team, right? They had some high expectations over the past couple seasons. And I don't
Something's got to give.
They got bounced in the second round last year too, right? To Tampa.
Yep.
Yeah, something does have to give. So we'll see what happens with them, right? They extended Kotkaniemi. The $6 million deal is laughable right now, but they extended him to around 4-ish. We'll see if Stahl's on that team next year. We'll see if Trocheck's on that team. Maybe he has a bigger role. But they just need something offensively. But they're done, so we're done talking about them. Let's get into tonight. Let's start with the Western Conference Finals. It's game 1 this evening in Colorado between the Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers. You see game 1, the total is 7. It's going to be 2 very different series, right? We're going to have totals of 7, and the other series we're going to have totals of 5, 5.5. I don't know if it'll ever see 7.5, but I would not be shocked with just how offensively gifted these two teams are. The Avs are minus 186 according to PointsBet, plus 155 for the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know, George, if you have the series bets or the series props up there as well. You do, of course you do, sir. So Edmonton actually has points in all 3 games against the Avs this season. They had a shootout loss against them and an overtime loss. And these games, if I'm correct, happened towards the end of the season with the Oilers and the Avs. Now, of course, Gabriel Landeskog was not with the team over the last 6 weeks of the season, but nonetheless, despite McDavid and Draisaitl being up at the top in points in the playoffs, 26 each, the Avs are heavy favorites here. Let's just talk about this series as a whole, Eric. How do you see this one playing out? What kind of percentage, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most likely, I guess, chances that the Oilers upset the Avs here?
I mean, it's no secret. I was cheering for the Calgary Flames. I've been cheering for the Calgary Flames all year. And I mean, the reality is they just got outplayed. That they got outplayed, and it's super exciting that we're going to get McDavid and MacKinnon. McDavid into the semifinal round, is never a bad thing. I do want to say, and me included, I'll eat my crow. Mike Smythe has been really good.
He has. It was way better than Jacob Markstrom. I'll tell you that.
Way better than Jacob Markstrom. He's been good. I mean, he's going to have to continue to be good. The Avalanche are an offensive juggernaut. They have scores all over the place. MacKinnon is unbelievable. Rantanen really hasn't had
one goal,
a flag game yet. That's coming. He's one of the best players on that team. He's one of the best players in the NHL. He can do it all. My guy, Vladimir Nikushkin, is having a very good playoffs, playing on that second line with Nazem Kadri, who's having a great playoffs. I've been saying it all year. I am not changing my vote. I said at the start of the year that Colorado would play Tampa for the Stanley Cup. I still believe that that's what's going to happen, but crazier things have happened. I mean, I'm not saying that that's for sure what's going to happen. I didn't bet on Tampa to be in the finals or to play for the finals because there was no making money with that kind of bet. But I did bet on the Rangers to play for the Stanley Cup. And if that happens, I may retire with all my winnings. I may retire with all my winnings. Cheers. Buy a life supply of blue light and move into the woods. That's unlikely to happen. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be an awesome series. I think the totals are high. It's hard when it's set at 7 to go the over, but you could definitely see it happening. Evander Kane's playing unreal hockey. McDavid is supernova into another stratosphere. Just when you think he's already the best player in the league, anybody that watches, even if you know nothing about hockey, my wife by proxy has to watch a lot of hockey, so she understands it some and enjoys watching it. But anytime I would have the Oilers on, she's like, man, 97 is really fast. She can see the difference, and anybody that watches the games can see it. And he's taking his game to another level. It's awesome to see. He's leading this team. He's carrying this team. Mike Smythe has been good. Darnell Nurse has been a beast. Evander Kane is playing the best hockey of his career at the right time for him. Good for him. And we haven't heard any noise coming from him. Sometimes that he was a bit of a distraction. We haven't heard anything about that. So this is going to be an unbelievable series. And for the opposite reasons of what we think the New York and Tampa Bay series, the two best goalies in the league battling for supremacy there. Mike Smythe has been great for Mike Smythe. Darcy Kemper has been up and down. Yeah. So I do think there's going to be a lot of goals here.
I think so too. I mean, it's hard not to think that there won't be a lot of goals in this series. Just want to check in with some people. I like this Vladimir comment too, George, and maybe we can transition into just kind of bringing up maybe we'll save it. Maybe we'll save the MVP odds. Vladimir, I gave some love to Draisaitl yesterday on Mean Streets. We're going to talk about him here a little bit as well with the Stanley Cup or the Conn Smythe conversation. He's 35-1 to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, and Connor McDavid's 5-1. And I understand that, if we fast forward in this Oilers team, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We're kind of getting into it now. If you want to bring it up, George, you can just bring it up. Conn Smythe odds, all good, right? Look who's not on this list. I mean, obviously, these are not updated from last night. Maybe we can update this heading into Thursday's show because the Carolina Hurricanes guys are done, right? And there's just one in Aho there. But Connor McDavid's 5-1, right? He's got 26 points. Draisaitl's playing on one leg, ankle, injury, 26 points as well. Doesn't have the primary assist that Connor McDavid has, whatever. You saw firsthand in that overtime winning goal to bounce the Flames, what he brings to the table, on the half boards, quick little pass to Connor McDavid back in the net, move on. But for him to be 35-1, it's crazy. It's ludicrous in my opinion. Like, how can Mikko Rantanen, one goal, having a decent playoff run here, one goal, bunch of assists, how could he be 20-1 and Leon Draisaitl 34-1 or 35-1? I understand that the Oilers are dogs here to win the cup out of the four teams, right? People are expecting Colorado and they're expecting Tampa Bay. What does Leon Draisaitl have to do in the finals? Like, does he need 5 more points than Connor McDavid? Like, if the Oilers win the cup and Connor McDavid finished with 2 goals and 8 assists, 10 points, Leon Draisaitl has 5 goals, 10 points, or 11 points. Do they just give it to Connor McDavid because he's that much better and he looks slightly better than Leon Draisaitl? Like, what does Leon Draisaitl have to do to get a little bit more respect, EY?
I mean, I guess that's just going to be the problem with playing with Connor McDavid. You know, how many years was it of getting Malkin, where, you know, it's arguable he's the best player on that team in several seasons, but Crosby got all the headlines because he's you know, the North American guy. He's the captain. He's the Team Canada captain. He's this, that, and the other. Malkin is the same thing. And I think it has to do with them not, you know, it's just the European name or whatever you want to say. And what's crazy about this is that those odds are nuts. And I would probably, you know, I wouldn't be afraid to put a little bit down because he could really have a push here.
Chuck a buck on
I don't know if he's getting better, but he may not be getting worse. The truth is he's hurt. He's hurt badly, and the biggest glaring thing is that he's not playing center, and they want to play him at center. I get that they want to put him on McDavid's wing, but they want him to center that second line, and the fact that he's not doing it at all and not doing it at all on the power play, it should be telling you all you need to know. He is hurt. He's hurt badly. And if you've watched any Edmonton Oilers games, and I've watched a couple this year, if I'm being completely transparent, it's obvious that he's hurt. You mean it's obvious. And the fact that he's right there with that amount of points, that amount, you know, it's insane. You know what I mean? It's insane. And you don't get the Conn Smythe for playing hurt. But the reality is the Edmonton Oilers are in a very different position if he's not pushing through like he is. Like the respect for Leon Draisaitl has always been high for me, but he's on another level of respect because it's going to come out and people are going to be like, what? How? Because he's hurt, like hurt.
Yeah, I know he really is. So let's call this series and get into tonight.
Yep.
Adam, I was looking at that last night as well. They had, you know, Landeskog on that top line yesterday with Valachushkin. And they had, of course, MacKinnon on there, and they had Kadri on that second line. I wonder how the matchups will go. Yeah, Lekin with Kadri to match up with McDavid. I mean, if you're the Avs, I don't think it's crazy to say, like, do you care about matching up all that much? I mean, I think about the Leafs when they didn't care about matching up Matthews. Like, they just didn't care about Philip Deneau, and it got them into a little bit of trouble. The Oilers, it's so tough to slow down that too. But if you're the Avs, I feel like you do want to have Lehkonen on the ice against them if you can, just because of how smart of a 5-on-5 player he is. He gets in on the forecheck. He's got a really good stick. I really liked Lehkonen on that top line, to be honest. So we'll see. It's really, Nichushkin has looked good, and he's played most of his hockey at 5-on-5 this season with Nathan MacKinnon. So that has been a duo that has worked for most of the year. We could see some switches, Rantanen back up on that top line. They could swap out, you know, they could all like load it up with Landeskog and Rantanen with Nate and go Nichushkin on that second line with Kadri and Lehkonen. There's a lot of different ways that they could go here. I'd be interested to see what kind of matchups they have and what, you know, I suppose on the Colorado side with them having the home ice to see what they want to do against McDavid and Draisaitl. Let's throw it over to you. Who wins this series and in how many games?
I think Colorado wins this series, and I think it's going to be in 6 games. I think it's going to be a fun series. A lot of the Edmonton Oilers players are playing really well. We are in lockstep with the Lehkonen. I know Daily Faceoff right now is showing that he's playing on the top line and centering that second power play. And because of the odds, I got him to be a goal scorer tonight and also to be the first person to score tonight. When you're playing with MacKinnon and Landeskog and you know, you have the possibility of getting power play time as well. Sign me up. I mean, the odds are awesome for Terry Lehkonen because him scoring is not really what he does, but playing in that position, playing with those players and the amount of ice time that we're going to see him have, it just increases his odds. And the odds for him are really, really lucrative. And then I believe that he could score tonight and could be the first to score. I'm not saying he's going to be the first, but I think betting on him to be the first goal scorer is very lucrative, and I'm going to do it.
He's plus 100 for a point too, which I don't mind. I think that's
awesome.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty interesting for sure. And I'm with you. I think the Avs win it. My heart wants the Oilers, man. I really do. It would be pretty cool to see Nathan MacKinnon bring the cup to Cole Harbour. It's up the road for me. I saw Crosby bring it there when he was young in his career, and I would like to see that opportunity for MacKinnon as well. But man, I don't know. Like, I was rooting for the Flames, but I've been in Edmonton. I've experienced White Ave and the run that they had in 2016, and the fan base is electric, and it really was electric at Rogers Center in the second round of the playoffs. So it'd be pretty cool to see the Oilers go on a deep run here. But I just think ultimately, I do give the edge in goal to Kemper, even though Mike Smith has looked really good and he's played a lot of hockey. This is the most games consecutively that he's played in a couple of years. Definitely this year. The most he played in the regular season was 4. That's it. 4 straight. I think we're going on It was a 7-game series and a 5-game series. So this would be game 13, I believe, in a row for him. I think it ultimately catches up. The Oilers do have the offensive weapons to keep up. They have the speed to keep up. There's no question. They're getting secondary scoring from Zach Hyman. Evander Kane has looked phenomenal. How many times have we talked about Evander Kane? Hyman is that type of player that thrives, at this type of hockey that's happening right now in the playoffs. And also Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. We saw a little bit of him in the last series as well, contributing offensively. So I think this series will go 6. You can get Colorado on the series spread -1.5 at -125. I think that's pretty solid odds. Avs to win in 6 exact series +380. I like that one as well. Before we move on from here, a couple things I wanted to we'll kind of maybe rapid fire through this. We got a board here with the top goal scorers from PointsBet in this series. So, George, if you have that handy, boom, there we go. We got Nathan MacKinnon, McDavid, and Draisaitl all 5-1 to lead this series in goals. And it's tough. There's so many different ways. There's a lot of different players here that could lead this series in goals. I think there's pretty good value for Landeskog at +650, shooting the puck a little bit more than Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen is a goal scorer. It just hasn't been there for him. He's struggling. The assists have been there. The shot attempts really haven't been for Rantanen. Evander Kane has been, like we talked about, an absolute beast. We had him on this show to lead the series against the Kings in goals at 11-1, and we also tried to double down in the second round, but it was Hyman who balled out, and he is 11-1 along with Nazem Kadri. And then you got your boy Nichushkin in there at 14-1, and then some longer shots there in Lehkonen and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I would be shocked if those guys, especially Lehkonen, we do like him, but overall, if he led this series in goals, it would be unbelievable. Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one guy. Actually, you can pick 2, maybe one and then a long shot. Who do you think?
I mean, if I'm picking to win more serious cash, I'm taking Kadri. He's going to play a bunch of really important minutes for them. He's centering the top power play. That's how it's showing right now. I think that continues. Playing the net front, playing the bumper. He's kind of moving them all over. I would pick him, and then I would be dumb not to put McDavid in there. He's gone supersonic, man. He's gone supersonic, and it's so fun to watch. He's already one of, if not the most dominant player, and then he's somehow shifted it into overdrive, which I didn't know was possible. He's sickening right now. He's sick.
I'm gonna go with MacKinnon. I mean, I don't hate the McDavid call, that's for sure. MacKinnon, and I had Kadri circled as well, right? Why not? That may be kind of the mismatch if they do go top line for top line. I think the second line in Kadri could take advantage of the second line in Edmonton. So pretty good odds there for Kadri and Hyman, both of those guys at 11-1, and maybe a 0.25 on Nichushkin, right? We know that how offensively gifted he is in the season that he's having. And if he does get some time on that top line, potentially he could lead the way as well. A couple other ones I wanted to throw out. McDavid over Rantanen, -130. More goals from McDavid than Rantanen in this series. I like Landeskog, more goals than Draisaitl. And then MacKinnon, -140 to have more goals than Evander Kane. For tonight, I think we see some goals, but it's hard for me. I think we see like a 4-3 final. Maybe it gets to 5-3 or something like that. I mean, the total's at 7, guys. It's really, really tough. Are you on the Avs to win game 1?
I am. Yeah, I am. I've got, like I said, the first goal scorer. I have MacKinnon. And I also have, what did I do? I also did MacKinnon to be the first goal scorer as well. I've got MacKinnon to score, Nichushkin, Evander Kane, Connor McDavid, and Artturi Lehkonen. Those are the goal scorers for me tonight. The McDavid one, I mean, it's positive odds for him to be a goal scorer. And anytime I see a positive, I'm going to put a little bit on it just because. But the big payoffs are Lehkonen and Nichushkin, obviously. More unsung heroes, but this is what the playoffs is. I really believe in the Artturi Lehkonen just because of him playing on that top line and centering the second power play.
I got Landeskog for a goal. I like Landeskog's shots. I am going to go with Nate MacKinnon's shots, 4.5. He's just been a volume shooter here. The Oilers, their 5-5 play wasn't phenomenal. I really did think Calgary had a better 5-5 showing than them, so I think Colorado will still be able to generate some offense. I do like Nichushkin if he's going to be back up on that top line at 2.5 shots. I think Hyman's in play, but guys, it's like the shot props, what I've noticed here in the playoffs are juiced. They really are juiced. It's tough to take a lot of these guys as singles, but Landeskog at -155 and Nichushkin at -155 if he's going to be on that top line. But there is certainly some value when it comes to Kane at -120 for 4 shots, Draisaitl's +120 for 4 shots, but I also like MacKinnon in there at 4.5, -135. I think we'll see a 5-3 W tonight from the Avs. Lots of offense. Over to this final series. We got Tampa and New York here. How do you see this one playing out? Of course, game 1, the Rangers open up as dogs, but game 1 will be played at MSG, +100. And then we saw the series price earlier in the show. They are +150 to beat the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, who've been off for quite some time. Haven't heard too much about Braden Point. I think they're eventually going to need him if they want to go on that run. They definitely didn't need him in the 4 games against the Panthers, as they only allowed 3 goals in the 4 games. Talk to me about this series, who you think's going to win, how many games, and also what you got for game 1 tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say they need Braden Point. They stomped the mud hole in Florida, the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers scored 3 goals in the whole series. It's an absolutely pathetic effort by them. Tampa Bay turned into the juggernaut that they've been the last couple years. They continue to be that juggernaut. And with a classic Ric Flair line, guys, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And the Tampa Bay Lightning they're the man right now. There is no doubt about it. Vasilevsky is the defending and retaining Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Very well could do that again this year. Tampa Bay has won 2 Stanley Cups in a row, and it would not surprise me if they win the Stanley Cup again and we see history. That's what my brain says. That's what the eye test says. And the fact that the Rangers are just, were outshot and outchanced by the Carolina Hurricanes. If the chances remain like that for Tampa will score. It doesn't, Shesterkin is an unbelievable goalie, but having Point is playing some of his best Stamkos is playing unbelievable. Has been a freak shooter of the puck his entire career. Kucherov has not been the Kucherov that we're used to, but he's still been very effective and very good. Palat is a player. If they get Point back, they're crazy. Hedman is arguably and would probably still be my pick for the best defenseman in the entire league. So, yeah, good luck to the Rangers. My heart wants the Rangers, and my wallet wants the Rangers to play for the Stanley Cup. And do I think they can do it? Absolutely. I think this series is very compelling. It's 2 very different teams. I feel the Tampa Bay Lightning are kind of like the old horse, and they're the defending guys. And the Rangers are on a massive upswing, and including the 3 players that they signed at the trade deadline. They turned into a very, very, very good team. And the Rangers are going to have troubles. I think this series goes 7.
I think it goes 7 too. Yeah, I agree. I am going to give the edge to the Bolts, but I think it goes 7. I think we see a low-scoring series just with these two goalies. George, you have this is from PointsBet. .ca as well, the series goal leaders here. There's a little bit of a surprise I noticed on PointsBet. Like Kreider at plus 500, okay. You got to go all the way down the board to see Kucherov, right? There's some value here, guys, with Kucherov at 10-1. Like these Ranger players, I'm just assuming they're thinking, okay, Kucherov, he's got to go up against Igor Shesterkin's been so good, but Panarin hasn't been scoring in this series. Kopp, these guys got to go up against, I think, a better goalie, definitely as equal as Shesterkin in Vasilevsky. So Zibanejad and Kreider have been really hot, Stamkos as well, but I would be taking shots on Kucherov here at 10-1. I don't hate the Vetrano at 25-1 in there as well. But, for me, it is Kucherov. And if I am going to pick a top Ranger, it would be Mika Zibanejad, just with how well he has just been down the stretch. He's been fantastic. I think tomorrow, it's tough. Do you typically lean with the team that finished a hard-fought Game 7? They go back home on, basically short rest, or the team in Tampa that's been off for over a week here? Who do you think wins Game 1? Only got about a minute.
For me, Tampa, I get that they've had time off, but they are just seasoned, right? They are poised. There is no panic whatsoever in their game. Do I think the Rangers come out and probably play a better structure and better defense against Tampa Bay? They're going to have to if they want to win. Drug Lant, it's really cool seeing him get a set chance with a really good team here again. He's an unbelievable coach. There's no secret that John Cooper is an unbelievable coach. This is going to be an amazing series. I cannot wait to watch it. The brain says that Tampa Bay, but the heart wants the Rangers to play for the Stanley Cup and the wallet.
I hear you. And what we said earlier when Vladimir checked in, I think Vasilevsky at plus 550, pretty good odds to win the Conn Smythe. You got to remember, too, it really is about the finals, the Stanley Cup finals. So if you want to sprinkle a buck on Leon Draisaitl, who's to say this guy wouldn't have a better finals than Connor McDavid? It's very possible. The odds should be a lot closer than that. On the way out here for tonight, because these shot props are juice, have some fun with assist props. You got Landeskog at plus 125, Kadri at plus 125, Nate McKinnon at minus 115. These are bets that I will have in the FTN bet tracker. And maybe we just try to ride this out with Leon Draisaitl to have a 2-point night at plus 125. He had 17, what is that right? 8, 11, 6, 17 points in 5 games. 17 points in the 5 games against the Flames. He had at least 3 points in every single game. That is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable stuff. It's like the Oilers from the 80s, right? With Messi and Curry and Gretzky. Just wild. He's plus 125. Heat check time to see if he has a 2-point night. And Evander Kane up on that top line, plus 170 to have an assist. Falling into an assist with those guys who have over 50 points combined. Not bad. From George running the show, we appreciate you. You guys all hanging out also appreciate you as well. Smash the like button, subscribe to our FTN Network YouTube page. Eric will be back with a special guest potentially on Thursday, and I will be back a week from today. Enjoy the hockey. Again, check out ftnbets.com. Use that promo code NHL. From Eric Young, myself, Chris Meaney. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.